For us, there's kind of the practical piece of universal screening and then the piece that works for the kid. Ultimately, it all works for the kid, but we have to start somewhere. We have to know who needs the help. For us as a magnet school, a 6, 7, 8 magnet school, when our 6th graders come to us, they can come from some 40-something elementary schools. And we don't necessarily own them. They didn't necessarily come to us from one of our other magnet schools in our Capital Region area. They could have come from almost anywhere. So we really know little about them. So it is critical, that universal screening component is critical, and there comes the practical piece to really know where do our students stand and who needs some sort of help in what area. So that's very critical for us to have. And then, of course, from grade to grade, we need to figure out where everyone is. And I think at that point, that's where progress monitoring sort of starts to take over as we track where students are along the spectrum. But as things change, in particular as units in math change, as the complexity of reading increases as you go from one grade to another, you still can't forget about those universal screens that may scoop up some students who you missed before because they were making it with their understanding on one level, but now the bar got raised and now they're falling behind. So you have to maintain your universal screens because it allows you to truly identify the students who you need to get into your program.
In our universal screening, it again is very much, we need to somewhere kind of filter out the kids that do need help and do not need, they're already benchmark students, which are on grade level. And so I think the universal screening, it just really helps us say, okay, we know that some students are going to need interventions, and that initial universal screening will tell us who needs the interventions, and then we can take those and decide which path they need to do. We can do some more individual diagnostic testing to see which path they really need to follow. And then that's where we break out into different interventions depending on what the diagnostics show.
I see the importance of screening being that how else will you know if you have any students falling through the cracks? It's so easy to hide in the masses of students in a classroom that is treated as a classroom and not as individuals, that the screening is key to finding those students that otherwise wouldn't show up.
Screening is probably the most critical piece, because if we don't screen, we have no way of knowing whether we have a class-wide problem or we have an individual student problem. And the interventions are so different. So that's really critical for us.